Hello and welcome to Giant Mess, a super sloppy sports and entertainment podcast that's hosted by Giant Mess. That's me, the real cinch Neal Lynch. I'm a former mediocre middle relief pitcher and fourth string college quarterback with a film and media studies degree. Now I'm a single dad who loves to talk Mets baseball, Giants football, movies, TV, and comedy. On today's episode, we're going to be talking about the first two games of the National League Championship Series between the New York Metros and the Los Angeles Dodgers. Metros split the series out in Hollywood and looking to come back for a 3-game set at Citi. Feeling good about our prospects. So we'll recap games 1 and 2, take a look at games 3, 4, and 5. And I don't even think we're going to have to look at games 6 and 7. Oh my God. OMG. Here we go. All right. So last time I talked about the Mets with y'all, we had beaten the Phillies, advanced to the NLCS, but we didn't know who we were facing. Dodgers or Padres? Dodgers or Padres? I was leaning towards the Padres because I wanted revenge for the 2022 wild card loss. But then again, when you talk about most brutal, awful, painful, excruciating playoff losses, the 1988 NLCS is up there versus the Dodgers. You could make a very valid argument that if Orel Hershiser doesn't exist, the Mets are world champions in 1988. It was, oh boy. Yeah, we lost that series 4-3. Went all 7. We had the best record in the National League that year, 160. Don't know what happened to those other 2 games. We easily won the National League East by a full 15 games over the Pirates. We were heavy favorites when the series began. We'd beaten the Dodgers 10 of 11 times in the regular season, outscoring them 49-18. We won game 1 in LA 3-2. Orel Hershiser had won 23 games during the regular season, carried a major league record 59 consecutive scoreless innings into this game. He'd go head-to-head against Dwight Gooden, who had 18 wins himself during the regular season. And we were down 2-0 going into the 9th. We scored 3 in the top of the 9th. Rookie Greg Jeffries led off with a single, went to second on a ground out, and Darryl Strawberry lines a double to the gap in right center to score Jeffries. It was the first run allowed by Hershiser in 67 innings going back to August 30th of that year. Lasorda pulls Hershiser for their top closer, Jay Howell. Kevin McReynolds draws a walk. Hojo strikes out. He struggled big time in that series. And then Gary Carter hit a 2-strike pitch in front of a diving John Shelby with 2 down in the inning, down to our last out. Strawberry scored as the ball bounced away in front of Shelby, and McReynolds followed close behind. McReynolds on the play scored the winning run by bowling over catcher Mike Scioscia as the ball sailed past him. And Mike Scioscia should ring a bell for a lot of older Mets fans. That was the other player that brought us our doom. Hershiser and Scioscia. Doc Gooden went 7 innings pitched, 4 hits, 2 runs, 1 walk, 10 Ks on 101 pitches. Randy Myers came on for the 8th and 9th, yielded 0 runs and got the dub. We lost game 2 in LA. Dodgers got out to a big lead, took a 5-0 lead in the second, knocked David Cohn out of the game. Dodgers starting pitcher, Tim Belcher struck out 10 over 8 1/3 innings. Oof. Metros win game 3 in New York. Dodgers brought back Orel Hershiser on 3 days rest. And Davey Johnson was like, well, that's a big mistake. And David Cohn would shake off his rocky outing from game 2 and pitch a scoreless 9th inning to close out the Dodgers and give the Mets a 2-1 series lead. So, we often talk about bullpens, and when we reference the bullpen, we often forget about the availability of guys that are normally in our starting rotation. I mean, David Peterson's a great example of that here in 2024, was never used in relief in the regular season. And he's been, with the exception of what we'll get to in game one, he's been one of our best relievers. So just because Senga might have a rough start, his past 2 starts weren't exactly great. Maybe there's an opportunity to bring him back out of the pen at some point. I don't know, but we'll get to it. So we win game 3 in New York. It's now 2-1. We got the series lead, and then we lost game 4 in New York at Shea. No outs. Keith Hernandez on first base in the 4th inning. Strawberry launches a home run to tie the score. One batter later, Kevin McReynolds hits a home run over the bleachers in left field to put the Mets ahead. We expanded our lead on an RBI triple from Gary Carter in the 6th. We had a 4-2 lead going into the 9th with Gooden cruising. And Gooden had only allowed 1 hit up to that point, only 4 base runners. Then he walked John Shelby to lead off the 9th after having a 2-strike count. And then catcher Mike Scioscia drilled a 2-run home run into the Mets bullpen in right field to tie the game. John Harper, a longtime New York baseball columnist, called Mike Scioscia's home run off of Dwight Gooden in the 9th inning of game 4 the most devastating moment in Mets history. Whoa, bold claim. Most devastating moments in Mets history, not just playoff history, Mets history. I don't know. I feel like Lucas Duda's thrown a home in game 5 of the World Series against the Royals. I mean, there were a bunch of devastating moments in the 2015 World Series. A bunch. You know, you could say Connor Gillespie's home run in the 2016 wild card. It was a 1-game wild card. We weren't really expected to go far or even make the playoffs that year. So that was kind of like whatever. 2000, I mean, there were a bunch of devastating moments in that 2000 World Series. People look back and say, Yankees dominated 4-1 series win. It's like, Mets were hanging around in every single game, you know. Yeah, that's tough because we would have gone up 3-1, and I don't know that the Dodgers would have come back from that. Game continued into the 12th inning when Kirk Gibson, who was mired in a 1-for-16 slump in the series, hit a 2-out home run off Roger McDowell to give the Dodgers the lead. And they would go on to win that game. So we lose that game. Then we lose game 5 in 12 innings. Dodgers jumped on the Mets starting pitcher. Wait, am I reading this right? Yeah, I am. Did we go back-to-back in the 12 innings? Oh my God, extra innings loss in game 4 and then extra innings loss in game 5? Dodgers jumped on Mets starting pitcher Sid Fernandez in the 4th and 5th innings to run out to a 6-0 lead. Lenny Dykstra hit a 2-out, 3-run home run to half the deficit, so it's 6-3 at that point. Dykstra then leads off the bottom of the 8th with a double. Greg Jeffries fouls by singling him in to make the score 6-4. Belcher is pulled. Dodgers go to the bullpen, which had been depleted. Ricky Horton enters, strikes out Hernandez, but allows a soft line drive single to Strawberry. So runners at first and second, 1 out. Brian Holton enters. So Ricky Horton makes way for Brian Holton to face Kevin McReynolds, who hits a slow grounder to the left side. Shortstop Alfredo Griffin charge and attempt to make a play on the ball, but Jeffries accidentally kicks it on his way to third, which means he's automatically out. Had he been able to evade that ball, the claim is that it's unlikely Griffin would have been able to get an out. So we lose that one in extras. So we're now down 3-2. We should have been up 3-1. We're now down 3-2, and we go back to LA. We win game 6. We open the scoring with a sac fly from Kevin McReynolds that scores Lenny Dykstra in the first. McReynolds then hit a 2-run home run in the 5th inning to put the game out of reach. David Cone scattered 5 hits, allowed 1 run in the effort. Tied it up for the decisive game 7 in LA. Dodgers scored 5 in the second inning on 2 Mets errors, and Hershiser went the distance, complete game shutout, allowing only 5 hits, sticking it to Mets manager Davey Johnson, who said there's no way. Dodgers made a mistake bringing him back so many times, and Orel proved him wrong again and again and again. As far as the series goes, Dykstra led the team in runs scored and doubles and OPS with almost 1,500 OPS in that series. And then McReynolds led the team with 2 home runs, 2 stolen bases, and 848 OPS. 2 stolen bases from McReynolds. People forget Kevin McReynolds could run. I was, as a youngin', as a young lad, wee one, I always looked at Kevin McReynolds and I was like, that's a big dude. He hits a lot of home runs. He can't steal bases. But no, he could swipe some here and there. Greg Jeffries, 845 OPS. Strawberry tied for the team lead in hits with Jeffries. And Straw led the team with 6 RBIs, followed by Keith Hernandez's 5. So we had a whole bunch of guys with an OPS over 800. And again, couldn't close it out. Couldn't get the commanding lead in that Game 4 contest where Scioscia hits the tying home run, the backbreaker. And then Hershiser, man. I think he had 4 appearances. Game 7, Game 1, Game 7. And I think he was in Game 3 and 5, maybe. Jesus Christ. So you just you don't see that much, that often, that much anymore. Would we be able to see that in this series? I don't know. Because the Dodgers, one thing we talked about when previewing, I didn't do a very lengthy preview of the NLCS, but when we did talk about it, I was, basically mentioning that I didn't think the Dodgers had a chance, because as I was recording that, the Padres were up 2-1 and it looked like they were going to advance and we were going to face the Padres. And I thought that the Padres had a better stable of pitching. And I don't know how the Dodgers are doing it, because if you look at like their IL, it's all starting pitching. Tyler Glasnow, Clayton Kershaw, they have their 3 guys that they're rolling with. There's Jack Flaherty, the pickup at the deadline, Yoshi Yamamoto, who we lost out on in free agency, and Walker Buehler. So other than that, I don't know that they really have a lot of guys to roll with. But there was a graphic that they put up, I think, before Game 1, showing that like the starting ERA for the Dodgers is puke-tastic, to put it lightly. Over 5, almost 6 ERA, I think I want to say. But their bullpen ERA is below 3, I think. So while our starters typically, we have a lot more trust in our starters than our bullpen, is the complete flip with us. Our starters ERA is respectable, damn admirable. And then our bullpen ERA, not so much. We had some stumbles and bumbles and fumbles here and there. So I'm the NLCS roster, when it was announced, we get Jeff McNeil back, the squirrel. Good to have him back in the mix. And that means that we had to leave someone off the roster, make room for him. And it was Adam Ottavino. And I didn't see, pretty much a lot of what I was seeing on my timeline was everyone was in agreement about that. It's like Ottavino just feels like you're guaranteeing a run to the opponent when you bring him in. He's just not. He doesn't have. It's not. He's not hideous. Like he's not. He's not a debacle when he comes in. But it's just like It's not smooth sailing. So I was fine with leaving him off the NLCS roster. I did see someone tweet about like how, people are overblowing or overstating or exaggerating how bad he is. Take a look at his numbers. His ERA is like in the 3s. I forget that. I don't think that's for the full regular season. That might have been coming down the stretch, but I'm completely fine with not having Otto. The argument for Ottavino was like, he's been in the playoffs before, older guy, savvy, vet, blah, blah, blah. But was he that good in the 2022 wild card? Because I don't remember being like raving about his performance from the wild card. And we debated whether or not we should bring him back. And we did, and then we did again. So I'm fine with, rolling with what we have in terms of our arms. And that also means that Acuna gets to stay on the NLCS roster, which I dig a lot. I like that a lot as well. So I think the NLCS roster looks really damn good. Of course, you have to think about on September 7th when McNeil went down and he was being asked by reporters in a press conference or, scrum, if you will, where the reporters gather around the player. It was after he was hurt. He's going to be out and he's done for the season, quote unquote. And they asked him about it. And Jeff said, if you see me on the field, that's a really good thing. That means we're deep in the playoffs. So, and here we are. He's back. There were some questions heading into the NLCS. Can the Mets lefties hold their own against the Dodgers lineup? This is from The Athletic. No team in baseball won more games started by a left-handed pitcher than the Mets with 54 wins. No team in baseball won more game against a left-handed starter than the Dodgers with 36. So like the immovable object versus the irresistible force or whatever the hell it's called. While the Dodgers' 795 OPS against lefties was tops in baseball, the Phillies' 783 mark against them was third. But the trio of Manaea, Quintana, and Peterson combined to give up only one earned run in 17 and a third innings against Philadelphia. So again, I'm a sucker for stats and numbers and throwing them out there, but from what I've seen and gathered, it's just whatever happened in the regular season probably won't happen in the postseason. It's just like you can play 162 games and this could be the narrative and the storyline. And then you get into the postseason and it's like, 7, 5, 3, 8, 15 games, and it's completely different. Phillies had the better regular season record against the Mets. We beat them. Brewers had the better regular season series, won the regular season series against us. Beat them. The Dodgers, you know where I'm going with this. Dodgers won the regular season series. And I don't know about you, but I've got a good feeling about the rest of this series. So in terms of, I think the Mets continued to prove that in game one with Sean Manaea's performance. I'm sorry, not game one, game two. How long can LA's bullpen do this? The Dodgers bullpen threw 25 and 2/3 innings against the Padres. It allowed 6 earned runs, all of which came in the final 2 innings of game 2. The back-end trio of Evan Phillips, Michael Kopech, and Blake Treinen are terrific. They combined to give up 4 hits and 11 1/3 scoreless innings again in the division series. And the Mets have a better shot to deliver blows against Ryan Brazier, Anthony Banda, Daniel Hudson, and Landon Knack. And sure enough, they were right because Dodgers went with the bullpen game in game 2. And even though, Lindor gets the leadoff home run against Brazier, but Landon Knack, the rookie, we knocked him around. So, and we did get to see Anthony Banda, and we had an opportunity to score off of him, and we didn't. I don't know that we saw Daniel Hudson in game 2. The Mets' main advantage over the Dodgers is the depth of confidence in their starting rotation. Hells yeah. But how will the Mets pitching handle Shohei Ohtani, Mookie Betts, and Freddie Freeman? The numbers are not pretty. Sean Manaea, before game 2, in 63 plate appearances, Ohtani, Betts, and Freeman had an OPS of over 1,000. They have almost an OPS of 1,000 against Severino in 52 plate appearances. Their OPS against Quintana is 880. Against Edwin Diaz, 864. Against Ottavino, 853. So it's like, Ottavino, thank you for your service, but you can sit this one out. And then almost 1,600. I mean, it's only 9 plate appearances, but almost 1,600 OPS against Jose Butto. So who are the guys that are faring well against them? Well, David Peterson, 779. I mean, it's still a fairly high OPS, but pretty decent showing. Tylor Megill, 636 OPS in 22 plate appearances. Ryan Stanek, 712 OPS in 20 plate appearances. So those are the best that we have against that trio. And it should be noted, Maton has his, holy shit, his Maton's OPS against those 3. It's only 8 plate appearances, but 2250 OPS. And then Reed Garrett, 667, but only 3 plate appearances. So there's a lot of people, Freddie Freeman has a high ankle sprain. And while it affects, most deeply affects and impacts his base running, which he's not a threat to begin with. It's somewhat significantly impacts his ability to field. Maybe he's not as agile or quick, might be a little tender in terms of getting to balls. But hitting wise, I don't think it's supposed to impact him as much. I could be wrong about that. High ankle sprain. I don't know. But to me, it feels like he won't have as much power, not able as much to drive off the back foot or plant his front foot. So I do feel like it's going to have an impact on him moving forward. And it's maybe it's fitting that we're facing the Dodgers. The Dodgers were the team that made us look awful that Memorial Day weekend at the end of May. And that's when Jorge Lopez throws the glove into the stands. And then that's when we have the team meeting. And then that's when everything kind of changed. So it's whoever wrote the script for this postseason, kudos. That's some real expert storytelling you got going on over there. This is the fourth time that we have met the Dodgers in the postseason. It was the 88 NLCS that I mentioned where the Dodgers won 4-3 thanks to Orel and Scioscia. And then the next two times were in the division series, 2006 NLDS when we won and 2015 NLDS we won. 2015 NLDS, of course, Chase Utley had that ugly slide and Ruby Tejada broke his leg, was a rallying cry, if you will. And then 2006 NLDS was the big moment that I remember from that series was it might have been game one. I might have been in it. And it was when we threw out two guys at home. It was in the same play. It was like LaDuca gets it, tags one guy, and then the other guy was coming like hauling ass right behind the other guy, tagged him in as well. So that was a crazy, awesome play. So 2006, obviously, we went to advance to face the Cardinals in the NLCS. Probably should have won that. And then 2015, we go to face the Cubs in the NLCS, and we for sure won that. So we've kind of had their number 2 of the past 3. Just saying. Which brings us to game 1. Wow. As much as this game sucked, it flew by. Felt like it flew by. And it just felt like that time off was not good for us. It's like you almost look at that game and you think, wow, maybe we're better off not having days off. Maybe we should just rolled right into it the day after beating the Phillies. If we could have done that, which we couldn't, obviously, but it's like, is the time off what is causing this? Is it rust? How can you have rust after 3 days off? I don't know. Mendoza makes a decision to go with Kodai Senga to start. He goes up against Jack Flaherty. Jack Flaherty, 13-7 record in the regular season, 3.17 ERA, but had struggled, hadn't pitched in like a long ass time. Didn't look that great against the Padres, I don't think, in the NLDS. And the hope was that Senga would go 3 innings. He didn't, spoiler alert. And it's confusing as to why we keep insisting on throwing him out there. NLDS game 1, it's a surprise. Like we said in that recap, it felt like a WWE moment, a big pop, a surprise entrant at the Royal Rumble. It just felt like out of the blue. The Phillies hadn't really seen a lot of them, and so maybe we're going to catch them off guard. Didn't catch Kyle Schwarber off guard. Hit the home run, but Senga settles down after that. But then to come back and after you have the time off, right? This game's Sunday night. We had Saturday off. We had Friday off. Do we even have Thursday off? I mean, we had some time off. You had some time to rest some arms. Manaea has been your guy this postseason, most dependable. Peterson even looked better than Senga. You could have gone with Peterson. You had other options other than Senga. So obviously hindsight's 2020, and but to think that okay, but we don't like. For me, Senga makes more sense in NLDS game 1 because you literally were coming off like a nonstop barrage of games. It was just like we were playing just even at the end of the regular season, they were essentially playoff games in that, when Peterson throws against the Brewers in the third game of that set in the doubleheader on Monday, and then you go right into so it's like you kind of had to, or you felt like this might give you a boost. You didn't have to do that this go around. So disagree with the move. But the way that the Dodgers came out offensively and the way that we played, it's like, I don't even know who you could put on the bump that would have made the difference. I think it almost felt like we were going to drop this regardless. So of the 23 pitches that Senga threw in the first, just 7 were strikes. He walked 4 of the 10 batters he faced. He walked 3 consecutive Dodgers of those 4 walks on 14 pitches, and 3 of them came around to score. He lasted a 1 1/3 innings, throwing just 10 of 30 pitches for strikes. He threw his trademark forkball 4 times and wasn't competitive in any of those pitches, which is, that to me is the most disturbing. It's like, of course, you got to throw strikes. That's just like a given. But when the forkball is not working, that's a recipe for disaster. So, we could have started Sean Manaea in game 1. And I think that was probably the better move. But part of me thinks that maybe we're lining up our best pitchers for 3, 4, and 5 at Citi Field. I think that's Mendoza's like, we are going to close it out at Citi Field and not go back to LA, which is that's the right way to think, especially after what happened in game 2. So Manaea gets held for game 2. Senga struggles at the beginning of game 1. But now you have to wonder what happens in game 5, right? I don't think you go back to Senga game 5. Maybe you think about Peterson in game 5, but Peterson has been so with game 1 kind of, and the exception, has been one of our better relievers. So it's like, do you want to save Peterson for game 5 when you might need him in games 3 and 4? So it'll be interesting what we go with. Do you bring back Manaea for game 5? Wink, wink, wink. I think that's the move. I think that's where you have to go with that. So we were 4-0 in the postseason prior to this game when the opponent scores first. We won, Dodgers won almost 82% of the regular season games they played in which they scored first. So again, it's Hulk Hogan versus Ultimate Warrior at WrestleMania 6, y'all. It's just 2 forces that are just like strength against strength. Reed Garrett and Danny Young pitched well. They both pitched an inning and a third and gave up no runs. But yet Peterson and Jose Butto did not. Peterson gave us 2 1/3, 4 hits, 1 walk, 3 runs, 2 of which were earned with 2 Ks. And Jose Butto, exact same stat line, just about 3 runs, 2 earned, 2 Ks. So, bad day for pitching, but a bad day for hitting. It was just a bad day. I think it was just like, you know what? Let's get this one out the chamber. Let's just get this out of our system. We have this demon seed inside of our body. We need to release it. Just like, let's we need a clunker. Just get it out. Might as well be game 1. I'm totally fine with it. It's like, if you were panicking after that first game, what are you doing? Like, why? You can't, not every, you're not going to win every game. You're not going to sweep, and you're not going to, you're going to have some bad losses here and there. There's going to be a loss mixed in there that's just like, well, shit happens. And I think that was it. And I don't think you're going to see another game like this. Maybe one more, and it's not going to be in this series. So we mentioned Flaherty started for the Dodgers. He only made 1 start in the last 17 days. His last regular season start was the end of September 25th. And he gave up 4 runs and a pair of home runs against the Padres in his last outing in the NLDS. He also gave up 10 runs in his last 14 innings of the regular season. So even though his numbers looked, regular season numbers looked good, 13-7, 3.17 ERA, he came into this game 1 limping. I don't think he had the utmost confidence, but sure enough, LA records a 3rd consecutive shutout. Flaherty throws 7 scoreless, helping the Dodgers tie an MLB postseason record with 33 consecutive innings without allowing a run. sharing the top spot with the 66 Orioles, who did it against the Dodgers in a World Series sweep. The Mets didn't get a hit until the 5th inning, recorded just 3 singles. We had the base running blunder by Jesse Winker. I mean, when that happened, it was like, all right, it feels like this is not our night. We're a vibey team, right? We're running on vibes. That's how we win. We're energy, momentum, things of that nature, believing. But the move that Kiki Hernandez put on Jesse Winker on that play was another level, top echelon. Making it look like he's throwing to third and then doing like a Matthew Stafford, Patrick Holmes no-look throw back to second, and it completely fried Jesse Winker's brain, put him in a pretzel. So he gets hung up in the middle and then he gets thrown out at third. So, it's elite expert level stuff from Kiki. He's most of the Dodgers on that roster and in that lineup are just postseason veterans, and have been there before, and so that's you give the edge to them there because they've been to the postseason every year since 2013, something like that. So a lot of experience on that side of the diamond, and showed it off right there. Jesse Winker does have a pretty good stat line against Jack Flaherty. 8 for 21, which is good enough for a 381 average, 3 doubles, 2 homers, 3 walks, and an OPS of almost 1,300. So it's the right move to go to Winker there. It's a righty-lefty matchup. And Winker obviously comes through, gets the hit, but then makes the best run of blunder. And after that, it was just like, not much going for us. So that felt like our one and only big moment. But Francisco Alvarez ends Ohtani's 36 steal streak of 36 successful swiped bases. Ohtani stole 36 bases without getting caught in a row. And Alvy gunned him down. The cannon from the troll. So that was like one of our few highlights. Lindor draws the leadoff walk against Flaherty in the 4th. That snapped a stretch of 28 consecutive hitters retired by Dodgers pitchers, dating back to a National League Divisional Series. Dodgers had established a National League postseason record with 29 consecutive scoreless innings, breaking the previous NL mark of 28 set by the New York Giants during the 1905 World Series. Not the football team. We just struggled at the plate, and I think that's why we have a lot of skeptics and critics, talking heads, experts, pundits, like counting us out because they're like, how far can you go on vibes, energy, momentum, magic, miracles? How far can you go on that? You can't. They're just doubters. And I get it. It's easy to doubt because it's just never been done before, or they're doing things that the Mets have never done in franchise history or Major League Baseball history. So it's like, it's historic, but like the amount of adrenaline that we have used, gone through thus far in the postseason, maybe it is, that was the storyline. Maybe it is taking a toll, and maybe they have run out of gas, and how, so, the offense just, bats were blah. Vientos had 3 strikeouts, 3 left on base. Marte, 2 strikeouts, 2 left on base. Lindor, 2 left on base. We went 0 for 17 with 7 strikeouts. And then we find out that as if that weren't bad enough, I almost tweeted out, like, when does the NLCS, after the game, I was like, when does the NLCS start? Because it just felt like that was not the start of the series. And then we find out that Brandon Nimmo has been dealing with plantar fasciitis, his left foot, since May, and irritated the injury in Game 3 of the NLDS against the Phils. So how do you treat that? Well, it's soft tissue massage. Cue the music. Stretching, strengthening the area in the heel, painkillers, anti-inflammatory stretching. So, you can see, like, even in Game 2, I think he re-aggravated it again, and he is just hobbling at this point. And, he makes that in Game 2, he makes that great catch going back. If it gets over his head, Dodgers, the momentum back on their side, they're scoring runs. It could get out of hand, and he's able to get on his horse and gallop and make the catch. But I just said, like, It's going to come down to Nimmo versus Freddie Freeman in a foot race to see who advances. Because you got Freeman who's like hobbling around on a crutch. He's chasing after foul balls and it looks like he stepped on a Lego. So, that's what October is all about. October baseball, fall baseball, postseason. There's no rest days. There's no, we need him back for later in this. No, there is no later. It's now or never. Is that dramatic enough for you? So then we roll into game 2. Game 1 was just like flush it and forget it. Okay. That thing is halfway. That thing is halfway to Mexico. It is in the sewage system. We roll into game 2 on Monday. 4:08 start. First of all, what the fuck? Second of all, what the fuck? Third of all, what the fuck? 4:08 p.m. Eastern start time? And I understand what they did. It's a travel day because they have off the next day. But hot damn, man. And you could tell because it like game 1 was kind of if you're a Mets fan, it was a dud. But even if you're a Dodgers fan, you're like, oh, this is too easy. This doesn't even feel like the playoffs. Doesn't even feel like the postseason. And game 2 rolls around. It's a 4:00 start time. The stands are not packed and full because it's fucking 1:00 in LA. So like people are working. So I got to do a better job of scheduling this shit, man. I don't understand. Like, I know you want to stagger it because you're trying to get the most audience possible for each game, but like Mets fans and Dodgers fans are going to watch the Mets and Dodgers game. And we're in the multi-screen era. There's screens all around me at all points. I'm watching 2, 3, 4 screens at a time. You tell me you can't have them both start at the same time? I don't see any problem with that. Anyway, so we have our tribal chief, Sean Manaea, on the bump, 12-6 record, 3.47 ERA, and we're going up against the bullpen, the Dodgers bullpen. It's a bullpen game for the Dodgers in the postseason, already in game 2. So you had to think. I mean, the feeling I got was like, oh, it's a bullpen game for the Dodgers. We're going to win this. Like, I know that they have a really great bullpen, but we just went up against a really great bullpen in Philadelphia. And we torched them. So I felt really good coming into this game that we're going to escape with the split in LA. Sure enough, we did. Lindor gets and it all starts with Lindor, our captain, my captain, your captain. The C on his chest. He hits the home run, a leadoff home run off Ryan Brasier to make it 1-0. Lindor is the third player with a grand slam and a leadoff home run in the same postseason, joining Kyle Schwarber in 2021 and Johnny Damon in 2004. He did foul a ball off his leg and it was not looking good. And I'm thinking to myself, what? No. We've come so far. We've done so much. And now Nimmo's got plantar fasciitis and and then Lindor, like it goes off his leg and it's like he's already got the back. He's just getting back from the back, getting healthy from that. He even like called it out in the post-game interview. So it's like he's got to rub some dirt on it. Training staff, get to work. So then the rookie Landon Knack comes in. Tyrone Taylor strokes a double down the left field line to make it 2-0. And then Mark Vientos comes up. They intentionally walk Francisco Lindor to get to literally the Mets' hottest hitter in the postseason. And I'll go on a limb and say the hottest hitter in the regular season. Mark Vientos is engulfed in flames, on fire. And they decide to walk Lindor to get to Vientos. And, there are clips circulating, going around, making the rounds. When Vientos sees that, he does a little flick of the eyebrows like, oh, really? You think that you're going to get me out? Cool. And then he just delivers a fantastic at-bat. Fouled off 5 pitches, 4 of them sliders, and finally jumped all over a fastball for the grand slam to center field, to right center field. 6 different hitters had already hit balls over 100 miles per hour. So the bats are back. They woke up big time. And the bats kind of, it's eerie sometimes because I don't want to say that we've, offensively that we've been like a freight train this entire postseason. I mean, there were stretches against the Brewers and the Phillies where it's like, man, we are getting nothing going. But when we're hot, we're hot. Again, we run on energy. America runs on Duncan. The Mets run on magic, miracles, and vibes. I mean, I can't go an episode without talking about Mark Vientos and what he's doing in this postseason. It is a run that is not exactly Daniel Murphy in the postseason, closer to like a Lenny Dykstra in 88. Or even, I tend to neglect this and ignore it, but Curtis Granderson in friggin' 2015 was our top producer other than Daniel Murphy. And I think he ultimately had more RBIs than Daniel Murphy in that postseason run. So can't forget about Grandy, man. But Mark Vientos in his first ever postseason. Did you know he's 24 years old? He's played 9 games, 6 multi-hit games, 3 ding-dongs, 11 ribeyes. His slash line is a 400 batting average, 432 on-base percentage, and a 714 slugging percentage. He's the youngest player to hit a grand slam in league championship series history. That's ALCS and the NLCS. And 14 hits. Amongst the 2024 Mets also, with that grand slam, join a list of about 12 other teams to hit 2 grand slams in one postseason. Last year's Rangers, the Red Sox from 2021, they did it 3 times. The 2020 Yankees, the 2016 Cubs, the 2013 Red Sox, the 2011 Diamondbacks, the 98 Braves did it 3 times. 92 Braves, 87 Twins, 77 Dodgers, 70 Orioles, 56 Yankees. 2023 Rangers won. 2020 Yankees did not win. 16 Cubs did win. 2013 Red Sox did win. Did the 2021 Red Sox win? I don't think they did. 2011 Diamondbacks did not win. 98 Braves did not win. 92 Braves did win? No. 87 Twins did win. Right? Yeah. 77 Dodgers, I don't know. 70 Orioles, I don't know. And 56 Yankees, I assume they did. They have like a million friggin' championships. Mets are also the 3rd team in history to have a leadoff home run and a grand slam in a postseason game. And we're coasting, right? It's 6-0. It's like, oh, you did that in game 1. We're going to return the favor in game 2. It's just going to be a role reversal. Now you're the stay-at-home parent. You deal with it. So that's what it seemed like we were heading down that path. And then Max Muncy hits the solo home run in the 5th off Manaea. But Manaea gives us 5 strong. They say, should we send her out for the 6th? And I say, hell yeah. Why wouldn't you? So bottom 6 rolls around. And of course, he ends up walking Mookie Betts and Teoscar Hernandez, which, Freddie Freeman then hits a double play ball to Jose Iglesias and he boots it. And then that's when we decide to go and take Manaea out. I'm like, why would you take, that's not on him. And of course the broadcasters were citing the fact that the ball kind of bounced off the mound a little weird and that threw off Iglesias, but Iglesias has to make that play. And if he does make that play, we get out of the inning and unscathed, but as it happens, not so much. So in terms of Mets pitchers in a single postseason, throwing 5 or more innings with no more than 2 earned runs allowed. How many games? Wow, there's a better way I could have worded that, huh? The most games of 5 or more innings pitched with no more than 2 earned runs allowed in a single postseason in Mets franchise history. Sean Manaea with 3, tied with DeGrom in 2015 and Harvey in 2015. 2015, you son of a bitch. Bobby Ojeda in 1986 with 3, Matlack with 3 in 73, and then Tommy Seaver in 73 with 4. So that's a pretty sweet group. There's already been talks about everyone wants Manaea back, regardless of what happens in this postseason. We want him back. And I was thinking it over and it's like, if you don't, what's your priority for Manaea? Is it money? Is it really money? If it's just money, I don't know that the Mets will be able to offer it. Although You look at Verlander and Scherzer, their dead money comes off the books, I believe, in 2025. You should have a little more salary cap space. You do have to pay Pete. I hope to God they pay Pete. He's earning $20 million a year now. I think that he's asking for 28 or 29 mil. Maybe he'll give us a hometown discount. But among the Quintana's a free agent. Severino's a free agent. We have a lot of, our entire starting rotation's a free agent. So it's like, I would prefer to keep Manaea. And I don't think, I think he's currently earning 14 mil, I think. And his market value that I checked on Spot Track was like a little higher than that. So it's like, if that's the case, yeah, I'd bring him back again for sure. Especially since that he has a new delivery, the new angle, the Chris Sale delivery that seems to be throwing people off. I really, but for him though, it's like, does he want to stay in New York? I think he loves this team. He loves playing with this team, but would he rather be closer to family? Because I think his family, I have to look again, but they're not native New Yorkers. He was born in Indiana. So does that mean he'd want to go back to Indiana? I don't know where his family lives now, but, and if you win the world, if you win the big one, I don't want to say what it is, but if you win with the Mets, mission accomplished, right? So then you would want to do it with another team that your favorite team growing up, build that legacy, or, go for the money, go back home to the family. So it's hard to see where his head's at, but like, I think he loves playing with his team. It sure looks like it. And he's had, a real bounce back year with the team. And I think there's something to be said about Jeremy Hefner's work. The fact that Hef, has done so much for these three guys that people, I don't want to say wrote off, but were like, they haven't done shit in like 3 years. I think people had given up on Severino and Manaea and Quintana. And it's like the fact that he's able to get to this point, why would you want to disrupt the apple cart? Why not just go with it and see if you can keep it going? I don't know. Speculation. So Manaea gets pulled and they bring in everyone's favorite reliever, Phil Maton, who has like a 2,300 OPS against Ohtani, Freeman, and Betts. He's not a fan favorite, and I'm sorry, but I'm not gonna skewer him or demonize him. Like people hate Phil Maton, hate him, and I am not in that party. I'm not in that group. I don't have a pitchfork. I'm sorry. I think he ran into some trouble against the Brewers, and I think he had a pretty decent outing against the Phillies. So it's like, it's been kind of hit or miss. And in this one, he doesn't escape unscathed. He does inherit the bases loaded in the sixth. No outs. And he allows a 2-run single. But that was it. He gets the pop out. He gets the ball that, the 2-run single was on a ball that the broadcast booth, Schmaltz and the other dude, they think that it's because of Freddie Freeman's base running. Lo and behold, we thought base running would be a problem for Freddie Freeman. And it turns out that he's still got that veteran savviness, and he blocks and shields Alonso from the ball, and it goes under Alonso's glove. You have to think that if Freeman's not in front of him, Alonso has, obviously a better shot of fielding it. And I believe in Pete's glove. I think he flashes the leather and is a better defender than people think. And that's been a huge priority and goal for him, an objective for him for as long as he's been in the majors. He's like, I don't want to be known as this is why he didn't want to be a full-time DH. He thinks he is a good first baseman, fielding first baseman. And then we get the huge double play to get out of it. Vientos bobbles the ball. Holy shit. Iglesias, Muncy goes in hard into second and pins Iglesias. It was like I'm having a flashback to Chase Utley against Tejada. It's like anytime you see the Dodger going in full steam to second base, you're like, ah, shit. But Iglesias luckily comes away and he's not injured. And he's able to throw out the base runner. Alonso with an incredible play. We're just talking about his defense. He does let the ball go under his glove. There was a little bit of a, shield going on. Couldn't fully see the ball. Here, he manages to stay on the bag. Because it's not a great throw from Iglesias. And Pete's a big guy, so that helped. But huge play. I think it got reviewed for whatever reason because they thought he came off the bag. But we win that challenge. Dodgers lose theirs. Let me get Ryan Stanek in the 7th. Maytown walks Ohtani. And then Rhino comes in, sits down Mookie Betts on 3 pitches. I don't watch a lot of Mookie Betts, but from everything I hear from the national media and national press, he's a goddamn angel from heaven. And he just is earning every damn cent of that mega contract. And Rhino comes in and sits him down on 3 pitches. I was like, okay, all right. Then you have to start to think maybe Stanek, I think I mentioned this when we talking about the series clinching win against Philly with Edwin Diaz kind of like putting us through all the emotions. Is Rhino really the better guy to go with? Just ride the hot hand and go with Stanek versus Edwin, but I don't know. I don't think they'll ever do it. So he came in with 1 out, run on first. Gets the strikeout, and then he gets the Teoscar Hernandez to ground out the end inning. He then recorded 2 outs in the 8th before allowing a single and a walk. Diaz comes in to get the final 4 outs. He gets the final out in the 8th, and has just a frustrating 9th inning. It's like we get to. It's almost like this happens almost every outing with him, which is like we get to see the absolute worst of him and the absolute best of him in the same goddamn outing. I don't know how it's possible. But he walks the first 2 guys, and you're like, here we go again. I can't believe this. Like this game should be over. We should have run away with this game. It's 6-3, and we're sweating bullets because there were a couple times where it's like. It's 6-0. Oh no, it's 6-1. Okay, well, our bats have just completely gone silent, and we're not, we're missing opportunities to get insurance runs and to pad the lead, and we need all the runs we can get because we're not, our bullpen has, not earned the level of swagginess like a Mark Vientos would have. So we're walking on eggshells over here. It's thin ice. So he walks the first 2 and then just proceeds to he strikes out Mookie Betts and Teoscar Hernandez, and then he gets Freddie Freeman on the slider. And what changed? This is what I don't get about Edwin is he fucks around with like this these off-speed slider bullshit. And as soon as he realizes that he can throw a fastball for a strike and have them whiff, it's like it starts to click like, oh, I forgot that I can throw 100 miles per hour and no one can touch it. Why does it take him so long to figure that out? I have no idea. But it's like, dude, just come in. And I mean, I could understand if, the first pitch, you might not want to do it because you're thinking they're going to sit on this and they're like amped up and they want to show me up and like whatever. But every time he turns it up a notch and deals in the high 90s, the guys are not catching up to it. So it's, the fastball is looking the best it's looked in a long time. That was do you guys remember like early on the season, like, what feels like 5 years ago, but like in April and May when Diaz was coming in, everyone was like questioning his velocity. Oh, his velocity is down. Has he lost it? And now he's pumping 99, 100 consistently here in October. So he has not officially lost it, but it's like why he was fucking around with those first 2 batters. I have no idea. Attack. I'd rather you attack there with no one on than for you to have to attack with 2 guys on. I mean, it works out because your stuff is that fucking filthy, but why not trust it from the get? I don't know. So Manaea had 7 Ks, 4 walks. He does give up the 1 home run, but only 2 hits. It was one of 2 hits he gave up. The 4 walks kind of sucks. He had the 2 walks there towards the end in the 6th, which led to him departing. But, pretty good showing from our pitching. Jose Iglesias, not so much. Francisco Alvarez, not so much. I don't know if I read this wrong. Jose Iglesias left 6 runners on base, and Francisco Alvarez left 7 runners on base. And you know what? That's on me. Because hot damn, I was commenting, after the Phillies, we beat the Phillies in the NLDS. I said, well, it's because we have a better 1 through 9 in the lineup. Like, we have legitimate threats 1 through 9, whereas the Phillies are pretty much a 1 through 4 team, maybe a 1 through 5, and then the bottom half of their lineup sucks and stinks and doesn't contribute. But then you look at like the numbers that Alvarez and Iglesias have been putting up in the postseason, and it's like, oh no, especially Alvarez. I mean, Alvarez is really struggling. There are a couple times where it's like bases juiced. I mean, more than a couple times, the bases have been loaded for this dude, and he pops out and he's not getting the run in. Like, at least hit a sac fly, just produce. And he's been unable to. So hopefully he gets on track. And then Iglesias, he's had some clutch hits, but other than the clutch hits, he's had other opportunities and has not really come through. So now there's been some talk about, well, McNeil's back now. Do you now start McNeil and sit Iggy? I'm not ready to do that yet. I am very open to it. I'm not completely opposed to it. I wouldn't get pissed if they do that, make that move. But I do think that McNeil played had a handful of bats in the Arizona Fall League, and now we're going to just entrust him to come in and be the Jeff McNeil batting champion from a few years ago. No. Now, can he, having all this time off, coming off a serious injury, can he just step in and hit better than Iglesias, who, regular season and into the postseason was probably our best hitter with 2 outs and runners in scoring position? Can you say the same for McNeil? I don't know. So that's a big question mark. I honestly think that if I'm the manager, if I'm Mendoza, I say we need to get McNeil more opportunities. Now, McNeil comes in a pitch hitting situation in game 1. It's a very soft liner out. But the fact that he's felt like he was on the ball, just didn't get the barrel, was a good sign. So I'd like to see McNeil get more opportunities in the batter's box. Now, the Nimmo injury, that throws a wrinkle into everything. Because you want Nimmo in the lineup. He can still hit. It doesn't necessarily affect his hitting that much, I don't think. The fielding, you can see he struggled to get back on that line drive. Base running, he's hobbling around. So it's like, do we put Nimmo at DH, but then you lose Winker and Martinez? You could put McNeil in the outfield. Or do you put Winker in the outfield? You put McNeil at second. You can't take Vientos out. So do you put Vientos as DH? Maybe rest Nimmo for a game? He gets the day off in between games 2 and 3. Do you give him another rest day in game 3? Get Winker out in the outfield, and then you have Vientos DH, Iggy at third, McNeil at second. So some interesting thoughts there. Good to see we didn't completely struggle the rest of the game, though. We put together, we had opportunities to score and extend the lead, and we didn't. And then finally we kind of got through. Pete Alonso, this is a dude who's known for hitting home runs. He's a slugger, right? He gets on base on a nice walk, draws a 3-2 count, gets the walk, steals second uncontested, caught everyone by surprise. And then because he's able to do that, he scores on Starling Marte's base knock up the middle. And we extend the lead to 7-3. So, and that ends up being the final score. The Dodgers' top 5 hitters, all of them all-stars, went 0 for 19 with 5 walks and 9 strikeouts. The Mets' top 5 hitters went 7 for 22 with 6 RBIs and 5 runs scored in game 2. That was not the case in game 1. I think I have that stat line here somewhere. Do I? Oh, yeah, that was the stat I gave before. The Mets hitters. So it wasn't all Mets hitters. It was the Mets' top 5 hitters went 0 for 17 with 7 strikeouts in game 1. So did not show up in that first game. Definitely showed up in the second game. Again, you would have liked to have what the Dodgers had in game 1, where you could coast and, it's a blowout and everyone's celebrating, but we had to sweat it out. And that's what we do. And we're made for that, right? We're made for that kind of environment. All Mets fans have so much trauma. The amount of trauma that we have as Mets fans, and it's just like flashbacks, PTSD, and just like, it's there's a reason why we're negative most of the time, 99% of the time. I just wish that people could break free of it and see it and embrace it, that this is a different team. Just, you gotta believe, but you also gotta get over it. And understand that this team is not the 2022 team. It is not the 2015 team. It's not the 2000 team. Like, this is a whole different team. So it's huge to get the split in LA. Humongous. So really glad that happened. And now we get to go back for a 3-game set at Citi Field. We get Severino on the bump going up against Walker Buehler. Walker Buehler is 1-6 with a 5.38 ERA. Yikes. So if we can then go up 2-1 into game 4, we can roll with Jose Quintana, who has been ERA under 1 for his past 7-8 starts, going up against the ace for the Dodgers, Yoshi Yamamoto, 7-2 with a 3 ERA. So maybe we don't pull out game 4 per se, and maybe it does go 2-2. That game 5 is going to be pivotal. That to me is the one I'm going to have in the back of my head this whole time. If things kind of keep going the way I think they're going to go, we could be going into that all tied up, and I cannot see us throwing Senga out there again. I just cannot see it. So I hope there's a workaround there, because odds are you're going to want to win. You're going to do your damnedest to win game 3 and game 4. So I think they might, game 4, if we win game 3, we might unload the friggin' chamber in game 4. Be like, we need to get to 3 wins. So it's a lot of different scenarios could play out before game 5. But in my mind, wait, you're going to start Senga for 3 innings? You want him for 3 innings, maybe 4 innings? And then what? Because I have a feeling that if you unload the chamber in game 4, Peterson's probably going to be one of those guys in the mix. And do you say Tylor Megill for game 5? I'm not opposed to Tylor Megill in game 5. Tylor Megill is a better pitcher at home than he is away. He has been really good, at least from September on. So I fully support that move, because I do think you're going to be using Peterson out of the bullpen again. And I don't know that it's going to be for like an inning. I do think that I just don't think Peterson will be ready to go. Unless you think game 5, the thought is Senga 3, Peterson 3, Megill 2, or 2-2-2. Senga 2, Peterson 2, Megill 2. That still leaves you with 3 innings. I don't know. So I really don't think that Jack Flaherty is going to have another outing like he did against us last time. I think, and I believe Harold Reynolds said this on MLB Tonight, but he was saying that, like, and it's ironic that I'm bringing this up because it goes against the point that it's exactly what Davey Johnson said in the 88 NLCS when they were talking about bringing back Hershiser on 3 days rest. He's like, well, that's not going to work out for them. So I could be eating my words after saying this, but Harold Reynolds was like, the second time, third time in a with a 7-game series, there are much higher, obviously way higher odds that you're going to face a guy a second or third time, and you're not going to have the same kind of effectiveness as you did the first time. Because, a lot of these teams, they don't face each other that often, especially when you're not a divisional opponent like the Dodgers. So there you can go months and months without seeing them. That being said, wild that the Dodgers are saving Yoshi for game 4. So if they win game 4, it's then 2-2. They bring him back for game 6. I don't know. But I don't want to say I'm cocky, but damn, you have to feel like we have seized the momentum and that we are going to win game 3. I forget what the record was that I said last episode, but like our record in game 3 is among the best in professional baseball in postseason series. Like game 3s are just what we do best. So I'd be very surprised if we lose game 3. I think game 4, I mean, we don't really blow teams out per se. So I don't think game 3 is going to be a blowout by any means. I do think that we're going to have to fight and scratch and claw, and we're going to get a win. But game 4 feels like that could be an instant classic. If Quintana is still dealing the way he deals, Yoshi comes out with his A-level stuff, A-grade stuff. I think this could be a pitcher's duel. We could see it go into extra innings. Game 5 is going to be a weird one. I have no idea what to expect in game 5. That's like the big wild card of this series. And hopefully it never goes back to Los Angeles, the city of angels. So that's the episode. It's weird what a week or two can do for your mindset and your mentality. The amount that, like, it just, you look at the Mets team and you look at the other teams and you're like, that other team does not have what this Mets team has. They just don't have it. Not when you have, Mark Vientos is red hot. Lindor is so clutch. Alonso has had incredibly way higher quality at bats than he did for most of the regular season. I don't think you can sit here and say, oh, Pete Alonso is lost up there. He's chasing. He's not doing that, at least not as much as he was in the regular season. So Alonso's coming around. I think, Winker had a horrific September. He was like 3 for 42, something like that. Martinez wasn't much better, but Winker's kind of coming around. He was getting on base. Now, if Iglesias and Alvarez can figure it out, that would be huge, because that's kind of been our edge, is like the bottom of our order is not a sure thing. It's not an automatic 1, 2, 3. The injured Nimmo sucks. I think that's gonna be tough. And how do you manage that? And how do you not lose his productivity without? But like, is Winker that bad in the outfield? I don't know. And Starling Marte, he was kind of struggling coming into the NLCS, but I think he's coming around now too. Tyrone Taylor also, I've been a huge fan of Tyrone Taylor in the postseason. He's got the nod over Harrison Bader for every game. And, I think he's seeing the ball better. Defensively, he's always been good, but offensively, I think he's starting to pick up on the ball some more. So I honestly think that this Dodgers bullpen cannot withstand this in a 7-game series. I just don't think they can do it. I really don't. I don't think they have the starting pitching. Yoshi is pretty much the one guy that they probably feel best about. Flaherty has been kind of whatever. I think game 1 was a ruse. It was just like, and I just don't see the Dodgers winning this thing. I really don't. With everything the Mets have going for them, with the way they're feeling, with the way they're hitting, listen, we do leave a lot of dudes on base. And that's something that could come back to haunt us. I think the two things that are really tough for us of late that might be our undoing and might seal our fate is our hitting with runners in scoring position, and our pitchers not being able to throw strikes. I've had so many conversations with people who are like, what the hell is going on? Just throw strikes. Don't get too cute. Don't try to hit spots. Throw the ball. Don't aim it. Throw the ball. That old adage. Just attack. Attack. Because the walks almost always come back to haunt you and come back to bite you. Almost always. So that's the one thing I think that I forget how many walks we had in that game one, but it was a shit ton of walks in game one. Let's see if I can pull it up. Senga had the 4 walks, Peterson the walk, Young with the walk, Buto the walk. Just a lot of walks, dude. You can't allow free passes in this game, in the big show. So many guys left on base in that first game. And then how many walks do we have in the second game? A lot of walks. Yeah, I don't know if I have this stat anywhere. Maybe not. But we're like one of the few teams to surrender 8 walks and still win a game. I don't know where I put that, but like that's, we had just as many walks in game 2 as we did in game 1. Manaea had the 4, Maytown with 2, Stanek with a walk. Diaz should have 2 walks. Maybe it's just the 1 walk. Yeah, so the walks, need to cut down on them. That could really, that's really the only way I see us losing this series, if we would just continue to just pile up the walks and allow them to get on base without putting the ball in play. And then runners in scoring position, leaving so many guys on base. I mean, 7, dude, this has to be a mistake. 7 guys left on base for Troll. Woof, dude. Instead of Iglesias and Alvarez, 6 or more left on base, but like, Vientos left 2 on base, Alonso left 2 on base, Winker left 2 on base, Taylor left 2 on base. So it's like, it's a lot of guys left on base. So walks and left on base. Clean it up. But yeah, OMG, y'all. Let's go Mets. That's the episode. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for watching. And we'll probably talk to you Friday night. Little late night Friday night action. After that game. And that we could be talking about some stuff. You know what I'm saying? We could be talking about the future, what it holds. What do we got? We got 8 o'clock start on the 16th for game 3. 8 o'clock start on Thursday, the 17th, and a 5:08 start on Friday night. Happy hour special. Drinks on me. Tickets starting at $215. Jesus Christ. So Friday night, I'll be coming to you with a recap of games 3, 4, and 5, and potentially previewing the next series. All right, that's enough. Jesus. Jinx much? Adios, muchachos.